After deciding on the itinerary, the recording of the program group has officially begun. The 5 amateurs were the first to choose their own rooms and settle down. They will live in this closed villa for the next 3 months. Chen Han's room is located around the main hall of the villa. It is an independent cabin. It looks exquisite and tidy. The surrounding environment is quiet and elegant, and it is very comfortable to live in. The only thing that makes him a little uncomfortable is that no matter what you do, there is always a group of cameramen around to follow you and record various materials. In other words, except for going to the toilet, every other move he makes is done under the camera. After settling in, Chen Han, Reba and others left the villa by car. These 5 amateurs have entered a fighting state from this moment on, and everyone is trying their best to create a miracle. No, 2GU Junming stays in the room. 6 laptops are lined up in a row, and all kinds of stock market and futures information are constantly being refreshed. His eyes are as calm as lightning and he is watching the market operations, looking very professional. No, 4 Sun Zicheng also stayed in his room. He was typing various codes quickly with his hands, obviously building his own website. On the 5th, Chu Jingya drove out alone and was preparing to inspect the location of her new store. As for Yuan Zimo, Chen Han, Reba and others, they all rode in 3 commercial vehicles and headed towards the antique market. At this time, every move of each of them was recorded by the cameraman and transmitted to the big screen in the studio in real time, so that Naja and others in the observation team could see clearly. Wow, GU Junming looks so professional. He actually operates 3 stock market accounts at the same time. This is the rhythm of a big fight. The stock market is a good place to make money, but I don't know if it can make money. 1 million is not a lot in the stock market. I personally don't like this kind of speculation. On the contrary, I appreciate doers like Sun Zicheng and Chu Jingya. This is the real way for ordinary people to start a business. You're right, there are risks in the stock market. GU Junming's operations are all professional. Ordinary viewers should not imitate them easily. Chen Han and Yuan Zimo should be very interesting today. They are going to the Panjiayuan antique market now. This is a holy land for gold diggers. I hope they will gain something. The 3 observers laughed and commented for a while, mostly looking at the group of Chen Han and Yuan Zimo. They were the most explosive today and attracted everyone's attention the most. Half an hour later, the commercial vehicle that Chen Han and others were traveling in was parked on the street outside Panjiayuan. At first glance, this antique market is crowded with people. There are a large number of vendors selling their antiques at the door. It looks more like a vegetable market, and it looks extremely lively and prosperous. This Panjiayuan is more than 10 times bigger than the Panjiayuan on Earth. Chen Han secretly smacked his tongue, a glimmer of expectation flashing through his heart. He also went to Panjiayuan in his previous life. He didn't know anything at the time, he just watched the fun and bought a few worthless gadgets as souvenirs. Now this Panjiayuan is more than 10 times bigger than the previous life, and you can definitely find a lot of good things. This is definitely the best choice for Chen Han, who is in urgent need of making his first pot of gold. After dressing up in disguise, everyone got off the car and entered the venue directly. Reba, Yang Mi, and Sun Hongale all wore hats and sunglasses, and they were not worried about being recognized. The cameramen were filming covertly, so Chen Han and his group looked like ordinary gold diggers, not too much, striking. Panjiayuan is the largest antique market in Yanjing and even in China. There are countless good things here. As long as you have enough eyesight, you can find the treasures you want here. Look at these small stalls. Each stall is filled with antiques, but most of them are fakes, so it is a great test of one's skills. If you, the viewers in front of the TV, want to come here for a visit, please don't do it casually. After all, investment is risky. If you don't have professional knowledge, be careful and you may be deceived. Yuan Zimo tried his best to explain. He led everyone into the market with ease, and he talked about all kinds of interesting things. It was obvious that he was very familiar with this place and was very keen to perform in front of everyone. Chen Han didn't care about this. He glanced around and smiled after a while, because he really saw the information about every antique. Open black lens bracket, blue and white porcelain, close black lens bracket. Years 3 months. Price 35 yuan. Investment income 0, open black lens bracket, snuff bottle, close black lens bracket. Years 1 week. Price 15 yuan. Investment income 0, open black lens bracket, enamel color, close black lens bracket. Years 1 week. Price 152 yuan. Investment income 0. All kinds of dazzling information appear before your eyes. Chen Han curiously scanned the surrounding stalls and found that they were all fakes, and none of them had investment value. They look like antiques, but they are actually pieces of worthless porcelain, many of which were produced just last week. It seems that the antique market is very deep. There are so many antiques here, how are you going to start? Reba asked expectantly. I wonder if we can find something good today. Yang Mi also smiled and said, to be honest, this is my first time in a place like this. Let's buy a few more later. Actually, most of the stalls in the periphery are fakes, so you'd better not buy them. Yuan Zimo pretended to explain in a serious manner, if you want to find the treasure, you have to go inside. Instructors, follow me. While talking, Yuan Zimo took everyone straight to the inside of the market. 007 How do you know my base price is 80,000? 7th update, please collect. Arrow _back _ios new previous chapter next chapter arrow _forward _ios. Yuan Zimo is eager to prove himself and express himself. So while he was enthusiastically explaining all kinds of knowledge to everyone, he was scanning the stalls around him, showing a very professional look, hoping to find a good thing in the shortest possible time so that everyone would be impressed by him. After a while, Yuan Zimo stopped in front of a stall. He casually grabbed a small blue and white wine glass and asked the middle-aged boss, what's the price? Ming Dynasty Blue and White, from Jingdezhen, 80,000. The boss replied without looking up. Hee. Yuan Zimo curled his lips in disdain, put down the small wine glass, picked up a bronze tripod and asked, where's this? What's the price? Qing Dynasty Imitation Bronzes, 320,000. Cut. Yuan Zimo put down the bronze tripod again, picked up a jade pendant and asked, what's the price of this? Hey, not only was the middle-aged boss not angry, he was actually interested. Brother, are you an expert? The boss said with a smile, you can just look at these rags, why bother asking about the price? What do you think of this thing? After saying that, the boss took out a simple incense burner from under the stall, handed it to Yuan Zimo and said, this is a good thing, please take a look. What's going on? Yang Mi was surprised. Actually, there are basically no good things on these stalls. The boss is just a ghost. Sun Hongale explained with a smile, what they put out there is just a trick to fool people. Yuan Zimo is very professional and asks several questions in a row. This price lets the boss know that he is an expert, so he comes up with really good stuff. Brother Hong Lei is right. Yuan Zimo explained coquettishly while appreciating the incense burner. If an inexperienced person comes to ask about the price, then 80% of the time he will be tricked by the boss, and even the really good things will not be seen. Not even there. The incense burner we see now is an incense burner imitated by Xuand in the Ming Dynasty and the Qing Dynasty. Although it is an imitation, it has a history of more than 100 years. Look at the workmanship and the texture, it looks like a good thing. It has high investment value and is definitely the first choice for junior investment players. Yuan Zimo's explanation made the boss smile. He praised excitedly, brother, you have good eyesight, you really have good eyesight. The real Xuand incense burner of Ming Dynasty costs more than 10 million yuan. Although mine is an imitation of the Qing Dynasty, it is made by a famous master. If you want it, take 3 million yuan. Walk. 3 million. Everyone was shocked. Chen Han squinted his eyes and laughed immediately. Xuand incense burner imitation. Years 187 years. Price 80,000. Investment income 500%. The information about the incense burner has been seen by him. It can be seen from the information that this is indeed an imitation of the Qing Dynasty, with a history of 187 years. The stall owner's bottom price for it is 80,000. After buying it, it can be sold for at least 400,000, which is 500% income. It seems that this guy Yuan Zimo really has two skills. As for how much he can cut the price, it all depends on his ability. Boss, I'm not a novice, why do you need to ask for 30,000? 30,000? You might as well grab it, at least 300,000. 30 is too expensive, the most I can pay is 120,000. This thing of yours is not a real replica of a famous artist, it is not worth much. Oh, everyone is so destined, you can take the 200,000. 150,000, I won't take it if it's more than this price. Yuan Zimo bargained with the boss and the final price was set at 180,000. After paying, Yuan Zimo successfully got the incense burner. Wow, I have obtained the first antique. Is this true? Reba asked curiously. Of course this is true. Yuan Zimo said confidently. This incense burner looks like a replica, but in fact it should be made by Shi Ziye, a famous imitator in the late Qing dynasty. The value of this thing must be several times higher. What? This is Shi Ziye's imitation? Damn it. The boss heard this and his face turned red with anger. Why did I sell this for only 180,000? This thing is worth at least 4 to 500,000. 4 to 5 million. No way. Oh my god, that means Yuan Zimo made 2 to 300,000 in the blink of an eye, right? It's incredible, it's incredible. Antiques are really super profitable, it's faster than robbing money. Reba, Yang Mi, and Sun Hongale were dumbfounded and talked about it. In the studio, Naja Yaya and Huang Bo were also surprised. Everyone's exclamation made Yuan Zimo feel a little elated. He said proudly, actually, this is just luck, and this incense burner is not a profit until it is sold, so mentors don't be surprised. This is the charm of the antique industry. After saying that, he even glanced at Chen Han provocatively. As if to say, have you seen it? This is my real strength. Chen Han laughed dumbly when he saw this and ignored him. Instead, he comforted the distressed boss. Uncle, there is no need for you to be excited. This business relies on your eyesight. And you are not at a loss, right? If I didn't guess, if I'm wrong, your base price should be 80,000, but he spent 100,000 more, so just laugh. How do you know that my base price is 80,000? The boss exclaimed in shock. Reba and others also looked at Chen Han in shock after hearing this. How does this guy know the lowest price? Has he already seen through all this? And Yuan Zimo, who was complacent and thought he had made a lot of money, had actually been ripped off by his boss, right? Oh my god, how does Chen Han know the boss's base price? Could it be that this incense burner can be cheaper by another 100,000? I thought Yuan Zimo was a master, but I didn't expect Chen Han to be the real boss. To put it this way, this incense burner could have earned more than 300,000 yuan, but Yuan Zimo made less than 100,000 yuan. In the studio, Naja and others were amazed. Yuan Zimo was already awesome enough, but who would have thought that Chen Han would reveal the secret with one word and instantly steal the light that belonged to him? Incredible, Yang Mi also exclaimed. So Chen Han, you also noticed this incense burner, but you just don't want to compete with Yuan Zimo for it, right? Bravo, a great man, a great god. Reba and Sun Hongale were also surprised and praised. Facing everyone's gaze, Chen Han felt dumbfounded. My conscience, in fact, he just wanted to comfort the boss. Who would have thought that you guys are so smart and figured everything out in one go? Even before Chen Han made a move, he was already recognized as an antique connoisseur. This was a wonderful misunderstanding, but this misunderstanding made Yuan Zimo go crazy. At this time, his face was extremely livid. I thought I could get a little limelight, but Chen Han made him lose face again. This is so unbearable. Dear mentors, Chen Han rubbed his nose in embarrassment and said with a smile, the antique business relies on eyesight and luck. It was his luck that Yuan Zimo discovered this incense burner for the first time just now, so we will split into 2 groups. Let's shop for each other's goods, so as not to compete with each other for antiques. What do you think? That's a good suggestion. I agree, it's best if you two separate your forces and don't interfere with each other. Reba nodded with a smile. In that case, I will reluctantly follow you. As a mentor, I have to supervise you. I'll go with Chen Han too. Yang Mi said first, Brother Hong Lei, so I ask you to follow Yuan Zimo. We also have to divide our forces into 2 groups. Sun Hongale looked depressed. In fact, he also wants to follow Chen Han. Although Yuan Zimo also looks very professional, he is no better than Chen Han. This guy is a master at first glance. It would be great to follow him. You will definitely see a lot of good things. Ha ha ha, Brother Hong Lei is so wronged. 666, our King Yan is deflated. Mimi is so cunning, I like it. In the studio, Naja and the 3 of them laughed again. Sun Hongale's depressed and aggrieved look is really rare. Everyone's atmosphere became a lot happier because of this, but no one noticed that Yuan Zimo was already so angry that his whole body was shaking and his eggs were about to be crushed. Let's go, let's divide our troops into 2 groups. Reba urged with a smile. Chen Han, are you going to go from stall to stall like Yuan Zimo? Yang Mi asked curiously, her beautiful eyes moving. Actually, these stalls basically don't have good stuff. Chen Han shrugged and said with a smile, these bosses are all smart people, and trying to pick something out of their hands is just a matter of men. So I'm going to go there. Let's take a look. While talking, Chen Han walked directly outside the market. Reba and Yang Mi quickly followed, and only then did everyone realize that Chen Han actually wanted to go shopping for treasures at the stalls outside the market. These street stalls are set up by antique dealers. Pieces of old cloth were spread out on the ground, and a lot of messy things were randomly placed on the cloth. It looked very out of style, which was very different from the orderly stalls in the market. Are there really any good things in these places? Chen Han, why are you here? Reba asked in surprise. The stalls in the market are all opened by experts who specialize in antiques. It's too difficult to compete with them. Chen Han explained. On the contrary, these small temporary stalls will have unexpected goodies. Quote. These small vendors wander around all day long. They buy all kinds of old items from the countryside, and then they can set up their stalls here by paying a few yuan stall fee. The cost is low and the price is easy to negotiate. So, the real connoisseurs never go to the market to buy things, but choose small stalls like this. At the same time, Yuan Zimo is too high profile. He doesn't know that all the bosses in the market know each other. If he catches a leak once, it will be difficult to catch it again. If I don't part ways with him, I will be overpriced for everything I buy. Chen Han's explanation immediately made everyone nod. I see, that seems to be the truth. It's scary that the antiques industry is so deep. Wow, I'm looking forward to it even more. I sympathize with Brother Hongale 10,000 times. Reba Yangmi exclaimed with a smile. Then let's get started. Chen Han's eyes flashed and he started walking towards an inconspicuous stall. Open black lens bracket iron candlestick close black lens bracket. Term 12 years. Value 135 yuan. Investment income 150%. Comma. Open black lens bracket pocket watch close black lens bracket. Years 136 years. Value 16,000 yuan. Investment income 360%. Comma. Gilded copper stove. Years 235 years. Value 120,000. Investment income 260%. One piece of antique information quickly appeared in front of you. After Chen Han took a few glances, he suddenly showed a satisfied smile. There are indeed many good things in the small stall. Although most of them are still fakes, there are still many old items with investment value. Chen Han can't wait to get them all, because they are all money. Of course, he didn't forget that he had 100,000 yuan in his hand. Obviously, it was impossible for him to buy all these things with the little money he had, and too much movement would only disturb these vendors, so Chen Han thought about it and squatted in front of a stall. Brother, look at this bronze mirror, it's from the Qing dynasty. I received something good from the village, do you want it? I'll sell it to you cheaply, 8,000. The vendor greeted enthusiastically. Brass square mirror. Years 165 years. Value 16,000 yuan. Investment income 350%. Chen Han knew with just one glance that the vendor was not lying. This is indeed an old object and has investment value, but it is not suitable for Chen Han at present. He must find a treasure with low price and high profit. Before that, Chen Han had to paralyze the opponent, or even all the vendors nearby, because everyone was looking at this place with vague eyes. These vendors are all human beings. Although they remained silent, they were observing the details of Chen Han. So Chen Han immediately sneered with pretended disdain, "TCH. What a piece of crap. I'm an expert. Are you using these fakes to fool ghosts?" Fake? Isn't this a fake? The vendor frowned. Don't mess with these. These rags are fake at first sight. Do you think I'm blind? Chen Han deliberately shouted a few times loudly, and after picking at the stall for a while, he picked up a piece. Yupei said, "This thing is pretty good, what's the price?" Puff. The vendor almost burst out laughing, and the vendors around him were also dumbfounded. When they looked at Chen Han, something strange immediately appeared in their eyes. Oh, what happened to Chen Han? Is this intentional or did he miss it? In the studio, Huang Bo said in surprise, "I know a little bit about antiques. The bronze mirror this vendor took out for the first time should be it's true, but the jade pendant Chen Han chooses now is absolutely fake, the kind of thing that costs 5 yuan and looks old." Oh my god, no wonder the vendors have weird expressions. It's like they've seen a fat sheep. Chen Han doesn't know anything about antiques. Doesn't this reveal his secret? Naja and Yaya couldn't help but exclaimed. No, no, Huang Bo thought for a moment and smiled. Although I have known Chen Han for a short time, I can see that this guy is shrewd and steady in his work. He was deliberately careless just now. He was clearly acting. You mean he did it on purpose? Yaya exclaimed. Everyone's eyes were filled with curiosity. What on earth did this guy want to do? Brother. After the vendor came to his senses, he suppressed a smile and praised, you have really good taste. This is an ancient jade from the Ming dynasty. It is a good thing passed down by my grandfather's grandfather. If you want it, I can get 200,000. Walk. 200,000. Do you think I'm a fool? Chen Han raised his voice and sneered. 300, do you want to sell it? 300 is too little. This is an ancient jade from the Ming dynasty. The minimum is 150,000. King ancient jade, who knows if it's a fake, but I just like it. The maximum is 400. Isn't it more? Okay, brother, you are also a real person. I will make you a friend, and you can take away the 3,000. 3,000 is not enough, 500 at most. In this case, each of us takes a step back, how about 1,000? Chen Han negotiated the price carefully, and finally won the jade pendant for 1,000 yuan. After paying, the vendor immediately handed the jade pendant to Chen Han happily. The vendors nearby couldn't help but said with envy, Old Li is very lucky. Brother, do you want to come and see me? Come and take a look, little brother, I have a big sword from the Qin dynasty. 3 pieces for 1,000 yuan, absolutely affordable. Brother, look at my pillow that Wang Di used. Do you like it? I'll sell it to you for 600. Hey, brother, come and take a look at my nail clippers that Wu Zetian used. It's a good thing. The vendors greeted each other excitedly and enthusiastically, as if they had seen the big fat sheep. Chen Han didn't care and squatted down to pick at each stall with a smile. Reba and Yang Mi were stunned when they saw it, their brains seemed a little weak. Sister Mimi, what is he doing? I seem to have seen a lot of that jade pendant at other stalls just now. It costs 5 yuan apiece. Reba said, dumbfounded. He's acting. Yang Mi pondered for a moment, then smiled with interest. He disguised himself as a novice who didn't have much money and wanted to test the waters. He deliberately suffered some losses so that he could take action later. Well, that's how it should be. Wow, is this okay? Isn't this just in time for the palace drama? Reba secretly clicked his tongue. Ha ha ha, Mimi said what I wanted to say, and now Chen Han is still picking and choosing, buying several items that are obviously fake, proving that he is indeed acting. Although these fakes are not expensive, they cost a few $100s each. Chen Han only has a startup capital of 100,000 yuan. Isn't it too wasteful? This guy is much more cunning than Yuan Zimo. Maybe he can really find good things at these stalls. Let's wait and see. In the studio, Naja and the 3 people were talking about it again. Obviously, Chen Han's series of actions not only aroused everyone's interest, but also taught everyone. After buying several fakes in a row and wasting 2,000 to 3,000 yuan, Chen Han gradually confused these vendors and became a real fat sheep in their eyes. At this moment, he dared to look at what he wanted. Open black lens bracket Shoshin stone seal close black lens bracket. Year 1935. Value 200 yuan. Investment income 2,500,000%. This is a seal carved from Shoshin stone. It has a simple shape and beautiful lines. From the information, it can be inferred that this is something from the Han dynasty, and it was made by a famous artist. At this moment, this seal was randomly thrown into the pile of antiques, and it was inconspicuous at all. Obviously, the stall owner didn't know that this was a good thing. He couldn't sell it, so he regarded it as a high-quality imitation, thinking that the price was only 200 yuan. But its investment income was as high as 25,000 times. In other words, if Chen Han buys it for 200 yuan, he can sell it for at least 5 million. This is what he really wants to find. Good stuff, I like this jade seal. Boss, how much is it? Chen Han took the jade medal in his hand generously, without concealing his intention at all. Hey, the vendor was overjoyed and said with a smile, brother, I have a good eye. This is a jade seal from the Qin dynasty. If you like it, I'll give it to you 1,800. Puff. Ha ha ha, most of the nearby vendors were holding back their laughter. Everyone can see that Chen Han is a big fool who doesn't have much money, so the vendors don't offer high prices, just make a little more. As if he didn't hear the laughter, Chen Han said seriously, 1080 is too expensive, how about 100 yuan? How about 100? You take 1000. This little thing costs 1000. Why don't you go and grab it? 200. 200 is too cheap, you can add more. No more, just 200, if you like it, sell it or not. Okay, I'll sell it to you. Just 200. After some haggling, the vendor reluctantly sold the jade seal to Chen Han. Reba whispered to the side, isn't this guy buying a fake again? No, Yang Mi whispered, this jade seal must be a good thing. Didn't you see that after Chen Han bought this thing, he immediately breathed a sigh of relief, and a smile flashed at the corner of his mouth. These vendors and authorities are obsessed with him, and they all regard him as a fool. In fact, they have no idea that he has already boldly taken the good stuff. This jade metal is probably very valuable. Have you noticed? Chen Han always carries those fakes, as if he wants to let the whole world know that he is a fool who buys fakes. But he kept this jade metal carefully, as if he was afraid it would be damaged. Don't you think it's strange? Huh, it seems so. Reba was surprised. That should be the case, Mimi is so observant. I think so too. Look at the subtle changes in Chen Han's expression. Wow, did he really find something good? In the studio, Naja and the other three were immediately interested. However, Chen Han is not in the mood to answer anyone at this moment. He has to take the opportunity to scan more goods. There are a lot of treasures here. Open black lens bracket gilt bullhead pot close black lens bracket. Years 362 years. Value 800 yuan. Investment income 400,000%. Comma. Open black lens bracket Wangshen Jade Buddha close black lens bracket. Years 677 years. Value 300 yuan. Investment income 2,900,000%. Comma. Open black lens bracket purple gold smoker close black lens bracket. Years 1165 years. Value 1,600 yuan. Investment income 2,166,600%. One piece of surprising antique information after another continues to stimulate Chen Han. These small vendors have some good stuff in their hands. Most of them have been accumulated for many years and no one has found them, so they just throw them aside to gather dust, so the prices are not too expensive. They are eager to sell things to Chen Han. At this moment, Chen Han didn't need to hide his intentions at all, one good thing after another just fell into his hands. He didn't bother to calculate which dynasty these antiques were from or how much they were worth. He only saw the ones with high investment returns and cheap ones, so he would buy them immediately. In the end, he had so many antiques that he bought a big red, white and blue bag from a small vendor, then wrapped each treasure in newspapers and carefully put them into the bag. More than a dozen antiques filled the bag. This kind of frenzied sweeping of goods shocked Reba and the others. This guy was so decisive, wasn't he afraid of buying fake goods? As time went by, most of the vendors also noticed something was wrong. If Chen Han was a fool who came here to practice, how could he buy so many things at once? This isn't quite right, is it? Seeing this guy rushing to buy as if he didn't need money, many vendors immediately calmed down and realized that there was probably a scam here. So everyone suddenly lost their previous enthusiasm for Chen Han. When he wanted to buy something, the vendors kept arguing and refused to sell him anymore. What a pity, Chen Han shook his head and sighed. Knowing that the opportunity had been missed, he had no choice but to turn around and leave. But at this time, an old man walked quickly from a distance. He walked up to a middle-aged vendor with an excited expression and said excitedly, "Old Li, where is the Shoshan jade seal you showed me before? Come on, take it out, it's a good thing."